Who gives a shit about fucking glyphosate and shit? I don't give a fuck. I like glyphosate. They say I can drink it. They say I can rub it all over my fucking body. Farmers are just fucking touting how great it is. It's fucking great for your fucking farms and shit. It's great for vegetables and fucking bread and shit. I want more glyphosate in my life. I don't give a shit that it causes cancer. I don't give a fuck about any of that. I don't give a shit about it destroying my entire intestinal tract and causing me have all kinds of fucking autoimmune illnesses and lupus and all this other shit. I want the glyphosate. Give me the fucking glyphosate, you piece of shit. I don't care. We're all gonna die anyway. We might as well go out happy. Welcome to another motherfucking YouTube video, podcast / live stream. I'm still in the same stream, but you know. You on YouTube, you're getting this another day. Glyphosate. Blech. Sorry, my shit fucked up. Glyphosate. A lot of people don't even know what the fuck glyphosate is. It's horrible. It will kill you. It is in our diets. It is in our drinking water. It is on your fucking lawn. You're walking around and it's airborne because it's being sprayed all over the place. Why? It kills weeds. So does digging the shit up, but, you know, and tilling the fields. Remember when we had to till fields? So today we're going to react to a recent video from 60 Minutes Australia, who's been triggering me pretty regularly with their videos. Granted, they're mainstream media, so we do take that into account. But this is a pretty good hit piece on glyphosate. So we're going to, for those of you on the stream, you get to watch this whole fucking thing with me, because I haven't watched it all the way through, and I plan on finishing it. But if you're on YouTube, you're getting a severely edited version. Please head to 60 Minutes Australia and toss them a... I've subscribed to them. Because, you know, even though they're mainstream media. Thank you, Dave101, for the lemons and shit. So, you know, for those of you who don't know what glyphosate is, it's a weed killer. It is in Roundup, but it has since been released from patent so that other companies can utilize Roundup and glyphosate. It's probably heavily used in some countries like China, for example. Farmers use it because it saves work, increases yields. So they use it on the soil. It binds to minerals. That's what it was patented for originally before Monsanto got their hands on it. It binds to minerals. It cleans pipes. It also cleans your pipes. It destroys your pipes. Your asshole, you know, your fucking intestines, big holes poked in it. But while it's doing that, it's also killing your gut bacteria. It's also patented as an antibiotic. So we're getting antibiotics in all of our food. We're going to have antibiotic fucking growth of disease. Just, you know, antibiotic resistant strains of shit are going to pop up all over the place. It's already popping up with the fucking weed killer. There's weeds out there that aren't dying. Nature has a way of adapting to this shit. Long before we do. And because we don't fucking adapt, we have health consequences, and we're going to get to see in gruesome detail one of the health consequences of this weed killer today. But keep in mind as we watch this shit is in almost all grains, soy, wheat, you know, all of these grain-based foods, rice. A lot of cases are desiccated. They spray it intentionally to kill the crops for those products before harvest because it increases their harvest yields. Makes it easier for the little tiller thing to fucking chop the shit up and separate it and do all of that horse shit. That's why grain products have the highest levels of glyphosate. They're so high, in fact, that our lovely Food and Drug Administration saw fit to raise the tolerance level because the agriculture industry was bitching that the tolerance level was too low and they couldn't keep it under that level. So instead of saying, well, tough shit, dickheads, you might want to go back to tilling your fields, fuckface. No, we're going to raise the limit so that everybody gets a trophy. Everybody can come out and play, and we get to suffer as a result. Thank you for the diamond. Thoughts on non-GMO and glyphosate? Well, we're going deep dive on this. We're actually talking about that. You know, this is not healthy. They've GMO'd crops, so you could spray the shit on there, and it won't fucking die. So you're getting it in all those nice vegetables you get that are genetically modified for this process, some of which are considered the dirty dozen, like strawberries. You get that on a ketogenic diet. You know, you're allowed to have some strawberries or some berries. Well, some of those have lots of glyphosate because they're genetically modified to not die. So it kills the weeds, doesn't kill the plant. You get to eat the plant, and you get lots of glyphosate. Almost everybody watching this fucking stream has glyphosate in their system. You can get it tested online, probably. I don't think your doctor's going to be like testing for it if you go in. I don't even know if I could get a test, I probably would pay for that test because I am curious about that one. Because it's something I have very little control over. I'm like playing fucking glyphosate roulette with every food I eat. Plus, the drinking tap water here. So if ever I eat out, which is, they give you tap water. They ain't in the back there pouring fucking bottles of fucking bottled water into your glass. When you go to a fucking restaurant or a bar, you're getting fucking filtered tap water in your shit, which means you're not getting any fucking minerals in the water, and you're probably getting glyphosate, so it's going to suck more minerals out of your life than it's going to provide you. So bottom line is, if you're drinking water out in the world, you're getting glyphosate. And our water here in Syracuse comes from Skinny Atlas Lake. Skinny Atlas Lake is surrounded by rich motherfuckers. Rich motherfuckers have very well manicured landscapes. Those very well manicured landscapes, and weed-free, glyphosate. Glyphosate runs into the groundwater. Groundwater runs into the lake. And even though it's coming through the treatment facility, we're getting it in our tap water. They've tested this in multiple areas around the country. You can even look at a glyphosate map to see where you stand in terms of that, and you'll notice that any major waterways, glyphosate heavy. If you're getting your drinking water from the Great Lakes, you're fucked. If you're getting your drinking water down anywhere in the Mississippi Delta, that's the worst area for it. You'll have to, if you're from another country, you have to look and see where you're at in terms of that. So let me catch up with the chat real quick. Tell us how you feel. That's probably going to happen. This is going to be a heavily paused video. It's a 20-minute video, so it's probably going to be a 2-hour fucking video. I haven't eaten grain in 1.5 years. I occasionally have grain in a cheat meal, like an item of grain, but I avoid it for the most part. A lot of my cheats are potatoes. Having some problems with that, so a cheat is a cheat. It's a little bit of poison. Probably not going to move the needle as much. But, yes, abstinence is optimal in terms of avoiding grain and sugar. My 2-week rule still stands. I won't have a cheat day more than once every couple of weeks. Sometimes I go a month. Sometimes I go, 2 months. I think 2 months is the longest I've gone without a cheat. But that being said, dose determines the poison. If you get a lot of glyphosate-rich foods, you're going to have a lot of symptoms. And we'll go over the symptoms at some point during this. But too long didn't watch. The symptoms of glyphosate, aside from cancer, which is the most notable one right now, autoimmune illness, bone problems in terms of it leaches the minerals out of your bones as it gets in your body, and also prevents you from absorbing new minerals to grow, so you can have severe bone problems. If you have a high glyphosate diet, it's probably a reason why the standard American diet has so poor dental health, and you get a lot of cavities. If you think about it, there's not a lot of science on that, but in theory, if you're eating a high glyphosate-filled diet, it could be the reason why we have so much tooth decay and problems. And to be fair, I haven't had to go on a trip to the dentist since I've been keto. So there's that. You know, I'm good there. My teeth are fucked up because I drank Mountain Dew most of my life and ate all of these fucked up foods. But that being said, bone health is an issue. Autoimmune illness, front row for autoimmune problems, because it is the number one cause of leaky gut is glyphosate in my book. Yes, plant lectins and all of that, but I think it's the reason why we've had the outbreak of celiac disease, because these allergens are able to get into your blood and cause your autoimmune system to react fucked up. And it can react all over your body. You'll break out in hives, you'll have rashes in weird places, you'll have skin breakouts all over your face. There's, you know, any number of symptoms that are going to pop up from this shit. So this is something to think about. I talk about glyphosate a lot because I don't think enough people do. You don't see Thomas DeLauer or Dr. Berg even mention it. Why? It is a huge nutritional issue. It is a large cause of a lot of health problems. I mean, it's probably not going to make you fat, but it's going to destroy parts of your system that probably help regulate that. You know, it is a huge concern. And you just, if you do any modicum of research on this, you will figure this out. There's a good documentary called The Monsanto Papers. Theory Vrain does a very brilliant but dry, boring lecture on this. But it's only boring if you're not triggered, and the lecture triggered the shit out of me. And he used to work, his job before he retired was working on genetic modification, GMOing crops for this. And he said, look, this shit's horrible. There have been animal studies done by the World Health Organization. This is how they have ruled it as carcinogenic. But I think carcinogenic is only one of several problems with glyphosate. So do your homework on glyphosate. I can't say glyphosate enough. If you care about your health, you need to be on the ball and keeping track of this. This is probably one of the most important corporate poisons of our time. Now, there's plenty of corporate poisons. We're going to even get into another one before the stream's over. This is the worst. So let me go through the chat real quick and see what's up here. Let's see. I haven't eaten grain. Okay, that's right. That pisses me off. Yeah, glyphosate pisses me off as well. You know, but there's just a long line of pharmaceutical and food industry things that piss me off, and I could probably just dedicate my channel to that. There's so much of it, and its triggered content tends to do well for me, and this fucking triggers me because it's something I can't do as much about. You know, I can limit my intake of glyphosate, but I'll never fucking get there. Thank you, Keto Andy UK, for the 2D fucking fruity. So, Keto X Truth, Bill Gates, Monsanto, Planned Parenthood gets fathers founding. I'm not sure where you were going with Planned Parenthood there. Kill them all and reset. Tinfoil hatty, but it's hard to not have a tinfoil hat in conspiracy theory when you actually uncover food and pharmaceutical industry conspiracies to fudge the data, to pay scientists off to pencil whip papers for us, which are used to regulate these industries to keep us from getting unhealthy. You know, I don't even think it's conspiracy theory, to be honest with you. This is truth. And it's out there, even in a court of law. And I've actually got another 2-hour stream lined up at some point where I go over the closing arguments from the trial that they're going to focus on, because they're awarding people money. You know, people are getting rich on their way out the fucking door. Their families are going to be getting rich because they're dying of cancer. But this is some serious shit, and we're eating it. Every one of us is eating this shit. So, you think I'm triggered now? I haven't even started the fucking video yet. This might be a 3-hour YouTube video. You know, this is how fucking passionate I am about this particular subject. Big money is making Dave 101. Big money making companies say, I want this. Everyone relating says, okay. Yep. That's the thing. And people are so addicted to the foods, they ignore it. You know, if you know anything about glyphosate right now and you're feeding your children breakfast cereal, oh my God. Oh my God. You're poisoning the fuck out of them. Then you wonder why they get autism and autoimmune illness and don't get me started. Well, not to mention the diabetes and all of that shit. We're just fucked. We are so fucked. Thank you for the ice cream, Double Delta. Helen, I'm almost carnivore, still eating vegetables from my garden. That if you're gonna eat vegetables, growing them yourself, it will lower the glyphosate seriously. You also got to keep in mind that a lot of those crops that are glyphosate heavy also are in petroleum-based fertilized soil. So the other thing that glyphosate happens to do, if it's used for those purposes, is it takes the minerals out of the soil. So then they plant the crops there. Well, guess what? There's no fucking minerals in the soil. The plants don't get the minerals either. Which means when you eat the fucking plants, you don't get the minerals. Then you end up with Walmart shelves filled with vegetables that are devoid of nutrition. Because the chemical gets into the soil, petroleum fertilized soil, binds to all the minerals, making them unavailable to the plants that they plant there. So then you have lower minerals in your plants. And the longer this process goes on, they're eventually going to kill that soil. It's going to be a dust bowl desert at some point. Hasn't happened yet, but when that does, then we're going to be looking at some survival situations. So, yeah, there's just so much wrong with this chemical. It needs to be fucking cleaned up and removed. And it hasn't fucking happened yet. And this is a landmark example of pharmaceutical industries, food industries, sugar industry, tobacco industry, all of these industries making money off of our poor health. This is how they do it. Monsanto is owned by Bayer. So when you get all of these illnesses from glyphosate, guess who you have to go to get better? Tinfoil hat or perfect business model? You get to go to Bayer. Give me my drugs, Bayer. You fucked me up with that Monsanto piss, so now you need to fucking give me pills so I can keep eating the Monsanto piss and not die necessarily. That is, unless I get non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, in which case I'm gonna fucking die anyway. But, you know, at least I enjoyed my fucking trip out the door, even though I'm suffering terribly with all of this problems and lesions on my skin and it's fucking shit. But god damn it, I can eat my fucking pizza. As long as I can eat my fucking pizza, I'm good. I don't want to go out like that, do you? Do you want to fucking go through 10 years of misery on your way out the fucking door? No, I'd like to get hit by a bus. Or fall off a cliff in the woods. Or maybe I'd rather get eaten by a fucking bear than to spend 10 years of my life rotting away in the fucking healthcare industry because of some fucking Monsanto piss. It's horrible. I can't really watch that video, Harold Callahan, but I will throw it in my links here. Keto diet theory put to the... Oh, how dare you? How dare you post nutrition facts bullshit in my shit? All right, I'm not going to get triggered on veganism because you know what? This thing is both sides. We can both agree on this. Vegans and ketos, we're all facing this. Vegans get a heavier exposure, so they should even be more pissed off than I am about it. They're pissed off about cow farts. Why not be pissed off about glyphosate? It's in all of your fucking vegetables that you're stuffing in your face. It's probably the reason why the vegan diet fails so much. To be honest with you, is it the fucking fact that the plants are doing it or you're not getting the nutrition you need from the animal products? Or is it the fact that all the shit you're eating's filled with glyphosate and it's destroying your fucking health? Could you theoretically be a vegan for longer if the fucking glyphosate wasn't there? That's a possibility. I can't rule it out. There's no science that Monsanto's going to allow us to see. And nobody's funding this shit. Why? It's profitable to get sick from our diet and end up in the fucking healthcare system. So, yeah, conspiracy theory is the word created by the CIA to discourage people. I'm trying not to get you all fired up, Double Delta. I know you're a big tinfoil hat guy. I'm a little tinfoil hat guy. I'm not a big tinfoil hat guy. But this is beyond conspiracy at this point. We have plenty of evidence to show this. You know, out there for everyone to see. You can even test these things on yourself and see improvements. You know, that's the thing. You can get out there and do a glyphosate test on yourself and find out just how fucked you are. And, you know, I want to see some research. Ever live. You know, where's the fucking research? All of these people that I watch are not concerned with it. And it's a huge factor. It's a very big variable. How are we supposed to figure out what diet is the healthiest diet when all of our diets have this poison in them in varying degrees? I believe keto is lower on the scale than the standard American diet and the standard American vegan diet in terms of glyphosate exposure because you're taking grain out of the mix, and that is the heaviest glyphosated food. You're still getting some through meats and fats because the cows are eating that shit, especially if it's factory farmed shit. Even if it's organic, you're getting runoff from surrounding crops in the groundwater. Glyphosate is getting in the mix. It's still part of the plant. Arguably lower dosage. Dose is a thing. You know, if you drink a gallon of glyphosate or if you bathe in it, as the guy that's winning the lawsuit did, even though he wore protective gear, still got it. You know, dose does determine how bad it is, but if it's causing that in a high dose, do you really want to low dose yourself with the shit in your foods? I don't think so. So, triggered almost full rant mode. True, the veins even pop. I saw my veins popped out when I get really fucking triggered. It's like I transform into a fucking, like, there it is. See, veins and shit. This only happens when you have no body fat in your face, by the way. But still, you know, that's a thing. I'm not clicking another link. I got enough vegan triggered. I'm not even gonna watch that, to be honest with you, because I don't need to watch Dr. Greger to know he's a fucking idiot at this point. That's you know, he's so far down on the idiot scale in terms of vegan propaganda. I just can't. I can't even stomach 10 minutes. I tried the other day. I tried watching when you guys linked that shit. I don't know if it was you in my comments, but you linked me that shit, and I was like, oh, I already know. I'm not gonna be able to finish this video. I can't get through 10 minutes of him talking. There's just something about him. Not to mention he's completely full of shit, and he's attacking my way of eating and the way of eating of hundreds of thousands of healthy individuals out there. And yeah, Greger is he's a piece of shit. You know, I'm not a fan. You know, that's my opinion of Greger. Thank you, Cole Baby, for the diamond. Wow, this is crazy. You guys are just like, we're already at like $55 here. That's pretty awesome for this stream. You know, I gotta say, you guys are really stepping up with the donations today. Greger is in reality or Ocasio. Are you making an Ocasio-Cortez or whatever the fuck her name is reference there? Wouldn't surprise me. So now that we got the first rant out of the way, now we get to watch a video together. Are we ready to watch and learn and shit? This is the fun part. Yes. I hope you're ready, because this is going to be a long triggered video. We'll see how far I can get. We'll see how many minutes I can get through before I have to pause and react.
Over the years, our hospitals and courts have witnessed some major public health scandals. Tobacco and asbestos being two of the largest and most enduring.
Keep in mind that asbestos, we'll be talking about that next.
Well, right now, a new storm is emerging, and incredibly, the culprit may just be sitting on a shelf in your backyard shed. 4 years ago,
or in every fucking food on the shelves in the supermarket that has grain in it.
The World Health Organization warned that the herbicide glyphosate, the main ingredient in weed killer Roundup, probably causes cancer. Created by chemical giant...
Probably. No, it fucking causes cancer. Depends on how much you got in you. And it's probably causing a lot of other things that aren't getting as much attention as the cancer. Doesn't mean we shouldn't be worried about those as well. Obviously, the cancer is a big one. It's going to kill you. It's going to kill you quickly. It's a big panic mode. Nobody's panicking about breaking out in hives. Nobody's panicking at having to go fucking load up with Benadryl every time they walk outside in the spring. Or every time a cat fucking brushes its balls on you. Thank you, Dave101, for the diamond. Yeah.
At Monsanto, Roundup is the most widely used weed killer on Earth. Now, in a series of landmark verdicts, juries in America agree the stuff can kill you. With the legal floodgates open and the first Australian case looming, farmers and gardeners are holding their breath.
And these motherfuckers right here, they are the biggest lobby to not get rid of the stuff. These kinds of farmers. And you'll see, because it's saving them work, it's increasing their profits and yields. They're just as bad as some of the corporations in terms of they're not willing to see the forest through the trees. All they see is the revolution in agriculture that has resulted.
If ever there was an illustration of the divide between town and country, it's over the use of Roundup. This stuff is extremely important for farmers.
Absolutely. It was like a revolution when it arrived.
Whatever happened to just fucking farming? Was there no farming before, during the 10,000 years of agriculture? Did we forget how to fucking farm to where we needed a fucking trigger? Sorry, fucking trigger, I just read that. That we needed a fucking chemical to farm? I mean, really? We don't know how to farm without chemicals and shit? It's essential for our survival as a species to pour fucking Monsanto piss all over our fields? Fuck you with this fucking essential shit.
It's enabled us.
Bastards. Sorry. Gloria S. just donated a dime. Thank you for the diamond. Live and triggered. Don't get much. But I'm telling you, this one's going to be a struggle for me because I am so angry and passionate about this. And I'm largely angry and passionate about it probably because no one else seems to give a flying fuck about this in the health community. None of them. Thomas DeLauer could give two shits. Even Frank DeFano never fucking mentions it. And he's trying to be all scientific and shit. Spherage, who would love this shit, it's conspiracy theory at its finest, never mentions glyphosate. It would be a huge thing. He could argue with the vegans when he's eating his fucking dead animals at the fucking vegan festivals. He could be like, look, there's no glyphosate in this shit. All right. Gotta breathe.
Fiona Simpson is both a farmer and the president of the National Farmers Federation. So if farmers didn't...
AKA not our friend.
...have Roundup, if they weren't allowed to use it, would it be a game changer?
It's a huge game changer, and in actual fact the advent of Roundup was a game changer because in the old days we spent our whole time just ploughing the soils, trying to dig up the weeds.
What's wrong with good old-fashioned farming? I mean, shit. Is it that hard? However, did we survive before Monsanto pissed all over us?
Farmers across Australia at the moment really are incredibly worried about this hype that's going on worldwide.
Well, yeah, it's going to eat right. You're going to have to go back to plowing, motherfuckers. Well, I'm sorry. You having to plow versus us getting cancer and fucking dying. Get on your fucking plow, bitch. It's really that simple. I don't give a shit how hard it is and how much extra fucking profit loss you get. If it means I'm not in the fucking hospital because you aren't fucking my food up, that's a win-win. So I'm sorry if I cry a little bit and play some fucking small fiddles and shit for the farmers that are going to be destitute because they have to go back to doing it the old way until we come up with a new chemical that we can fucking poison ourselves with, which is exactly the playbook that a lot of these companies do. You outlaw glyphosate, within 6 months there'll be a new fucking chemical that they're pouring on the shit that hasn't been tested, and we get to do this whole cycle over again where they keep poisoning us, we start to get sick, we go to court, we sue them, we get millions of dollars, they say, oh shit, the legislators finally can't take the heat because, all of the fucking press is coming in because all these people are getting rich, all these lawyers are just circling like vultures. It's this whole desert field of bullshit, and they just take their ball and they go over to the next game and start the cycle all over again with a new chemical with which we, the guinea pigs, get to test throughout our fucking lives. We find out it's killing us, and then guess what? We go after that chemical, and this is the endless fucking cycle of the pharmaceutical industry and the food industry and the agriculture industry at its finest. And we, as a result, suffer. We lose all of our fucking money. They take it all. They take it all. Because we're not willing to work a little harder or tolerate a small loss in profit. Fuckers. Monsanto said you can drink it. Oh yeah. Glyphosate shots and shit. Yeah. You want Fruit Loops? You want fruit glyphosates? And I've been using this as a joke in everyday, you know, when I'm like, it's a running joke with my friends now. Like, you know, Christy, you've seen her in the Washington D.C. video. Steve, they're all just like, I'm eating my glyphosates right now. I'm feeling good. It's glyphosates. And it's great. You know, the whole road trip, I was just like, her and the kids, I was like, oh, how's your glyphosate there? You enjoying that? You know, they still, I don't think, fully understand what glyphosate is, even though they're using it as a joke. I don't know that they've ever watched one of my glyphosate rants or even bothered to look it up. And if they do look it up, 9 times out of 10, they're going to come across this stuff is safe science. Because Monsanto spent an inordinate amount of money funding research to debunk the whole glyphosate thing. And now the independent researchers, clinical data, and now a jury presented with evidence. I can't wait to watch that closing argument because I want to know all the shit that he goes over in the trial. You know, look at this guy. Look at his skin. He's a groundskeeper. I mean, and this is, you want this in your body?
Who right now is one of the most famous cancer patients in the world.
I can see those lesions on your hands. That's it's not good, is it?
Yeah, you know, like this hand is in worse condition than this hand.
That's a amateur 13. I hear you. I believe I have leaky gut still from the shit. I don't know that we get to heal leaky gut. You know, there's people out there that say it's possible. I know it's not possible because if I overeat, like say I went off the keto for a week, I guarantee you within a week my depressions would return, which I believe is partially from my leaky gut. I believe my autoimmune problems would return, my allergies, cats would get into my ass, and I've even, with just a single cheat meal, started to have these reactions again. I don't think I've healed my leaky gut. Leaky gut is caused by glyphosate. It tears holes in your gut wall, along with the problems with grains. Grains do this too to a lesser degree than glyphosate, but between the two, you got like this perfect storm that just pokes all kinds of holes in your intestinal tract and allows these allergens that normally just go through our shit. There's some bacteria eats the shit. It goes out. It's all good. We're usually fairly protected. You know, our gut lining is one-celled thick. It's not hard to poke holes in. And sure enough, we've done that. It's destroying us. It's getting into our blood. The glyphosate itself is getting into our blood, which means it can leach to minerals in our body and our bones. It's bad stuff. It is bad stuff. I mean, look at
right now, but
look.
So that's the big thing with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is that your white blood cells just start to.
I believe Crohn's is can be linked to this too. That's my opinion. Not a lot of science on this, thanks to Monsanto. You know, there's some independent researchers that studied it. I think there was a farm that did an experiment. I think that was in the UK they did that. But as far as well-funded science to show the truth, you're not going to see it. And even if one of those studies does get independently funded, you're going to see 10 studies from Monsanto that dispute it. Not to mention, if they can even fucking get published.
Do too much dancing around and it gets a whole different party happening.
Lee has incurable non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and is the first ever person to successfully sue Monsanto and its herbicide Roundup for causing cancer.
Which is impressive considering they have an army of scientists, lawyers, and doctors on their fucking payroll, and he still won. That is fucking significant. Keep in mind, they threw everything in the kitchen sink at this case and are still appealing it, by the way. They even got it reduced, his award. Fuck Monsanto. with every fiber of my soul. Fuck them.
Then-
Yeah, Dave, it is pocket change to them, and it won't change their behavior. They have not been fined to the point where it's eating into their profit yet. The writing's on the wall on that, though. They got a lot of people lining up to get paid here. This is gonna have have motherfuckers that don't have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma saying, "Well, I got this, and I think this is," and they'll have that case. This is a can of worms that's wide open on Monsanto. I think Bayer should unload the company at this point and start a new one. That's probably the only way they can escape this fucking mess as far as being a company is concerned. But let's face it, they're not going to stop poisoning us because that's profitable. Ugh.
From Fairways.
So I guess what they do is they kill off all the grass, then they come in and plant new grass, and then there's weeds are all gone. They kill off the weeds and the grass. This is happening in everyone's fucking yard. You got that neighbor out there with the beautiful, immaculate lawn? Well, he's poisoning you.
To family home.
Doesn't know it, but he's poisoning you. And himself, because he's getting, even if you're wearing PPE gear, it's not protected unless you got like fucking super duper bio fucking suits or some shit that cover every ounce of skin on your body and filter all the chemicals out of your air. Like a full chem gear suit, for example. If you're not out there in full chem gear on that 90-degree day doing your lawn, glyphosate. 40 years. So how's our health gone? How's our track of health, healthcare, particularly in terms of autism? Kind of coincides with that. Lots of good stuff. I think Stephanie Seneff is a good doctor to follow on that. So it's linked to autism, which 1 in 8 in the next 20 years, 30 years are going to be born with autism. Yeah. This is fucking evil, poisonous shit.
No need to pump, just point and shoot. Hit him in the leaves and it kills to the root.
Roundup, extended control.
Oh, Jesus
super
Christ.
dr-
Evil weeds, huh? Let's spray some evil chemicals on our evil weeds. The weeds aren't going to fucking kill you, are they? If you leave that fucking weed in your fucking driveway, guess what? You're probably not going to fucking get cancer and die. But if you kill the weed, that dude's killing himself. I hope he was using real Roundup in this commercial. Fucker.
Monsanto points to 800 studies saying it's
Thad, I can't pronounce your shit. I nearly applied to work at Monsanto in 2008. My college classmate is still a programmer there. Oh, don't work for the beast.
perfectly safe.
For y'all that don't know,
They could offer me $1 million a year to work at Monsanto, and I would be like, you can go fuck yourself with everything at your disposal to which to fuck yourself with.
integrated pest manager / groundsman. I get dirty every day.
The people who trained you in this, in using it,
Yeah.
what did they tell you about the safety?
They said it's safe enough.
Double Delta, I have a nephew with autism, and they feed him sugar and grains all day long. There are anecdotal cases where taking as much of the grain and glyphosate out of the diet as humanly possible. There's been books written on this subject. I forget the anti-grain guy, Wheat Belly, the guy that wrote that. But there's been shown improvement, not cure, but definite improvements in autism when you take these things out of your diet. Of course, you can't eliminate the glyphosate, and I think some of the damage that glyphosate does is permanent, aka my leaky gut's probably permanent. His cancer's clearly permanent, so there's not much you can do once it does its damage, I don't think, unless you can completely get it out of our system and out of our food and out of our environment. I don't know that there's an easy solution. We're in the middle of the storm, and there's nothing we can really do as individuals to protect ourselves except mitigate our exposure whenever possible. But it's impossible to gauge just our level of exposure because it could be in water, it could be in plants. If you're eating keto, you're eating plants. Carnivore, it could be in the animals and what they ate. And yeah, it's probably lower dose because some of that's binding to the animal before it gets to you. It's still getting into your body and causing havoc. So there's only so much you can do and shit. Keto is known to cure shit and shit. Well, I don't know that it cures everything. It puts a lot in remission. I would go that far. I wouldn't say keto is a cure-all. It's a hell of a lot better than the standard American diet and standard vegan diet. And probably fruitarian and a couple other ones. But we can get into that fight another time.
To drink, they said you can wear PPE if you need to or if you think you should. But if you don't need to, it's okay as long as you shower after.
Sorry, safe enough to drink?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You should drink that shit. Don't worry. What you got all that PPE on for? Drink it.
That more than once, safe enough to drink.
Lee Johnson didn't take any chances though. He always wore his PPE, personal protective equipment, when he was killing weeds.
The guy loves selfies documenting shit. So this probably held up as strong evidence. He's doing all the proper precautions and he still got it. All of the proper precautions that he was told he could do because it's safe. And they didn't even encourage him to take these precautions. He did so out of his own due diligence. How many people you seen? I've driven by motherfuckers in Canada not wearing shit. Manually spraying the shit. Like a fucking fire hose off the fucking chain. Just fucking walking around in clouds of it. I've been driving down the highway next to a field literally while a crop duster is just dumping hordes of that shit and plus any other chemicals it's mixed with. And it's getting sucked in the air intake of my truck as I go by and I'm like, well, that explains that. And consequently, I broke out in hives regularly when I was doing the Canada runs. And I was keto. I was keto at the time. Dirty keto. Dirty as fuck keto. But still keto. But I still broke out in hives. I thought it was nuts I was eating. And then I eventually learned about this glyphosate shit. And I'm like, that's what that was. That was why I broke out in hives. That fucking glyphosate got into my fucking air. Sucked into my truck. I breathed the shit. The residue of it ended up on my skin. Which gets absorbed that way as well. As we can see from Mr. Johnson here.
Here at
So, I'm triggered by this. LOL. Shutting the fuck up now. Yeah, I don't know how people can't be triggered by this. Glyphosate is in beer too? Yes. Because beer is based on what? Grain. And just because it's fermenting and doing all the shit that you do to make beer, glyphosate doesn't go anywhere. It's still there. It doesn't go away. It's not easy to get rid of. The only known way that there are some bacteria that actually eat glyphosate. Do you know that? I didn't know that. It's in the soil. It's not in our bodies. We could use some in our bodies. I hope someday they figure this shit out, too. What bacteria that is and how it affects us if we were to have it. But that's a whole other experiment that's probably never going to fucking happen anyway. Because my prediction is this chemical will eventually be outlawed, will go away, and be replaced by another just as bad, just as deadly, just as fucked up chemical that does the same job. There's no way you're going to get that lazy-ass farmer that was bitching that they might have to go till the fields again to switch. They're going to be like, you better have another fucking chemical because I can't afford to fucking have to go out there and spend 12 hours a day fucking plowing this field. Dickheads.
This is just one of the schools where you used to spray.
This is actually the hill that I was spraying when my biggest exposure happened.
Well, when the hose broke.
Yeah, when the hose broke.
So he got, they're just saying he got dosed hardcore because the hose broke. So he was being cautious, he was wearing PPE, and he still got fucked. And for them farmers you see doing the big fucking thing with the little thingies, whatever the fuck those are that are spraying, and they're just like, you know, I'm the king of the world and shit in their field. Well, guess what? Do you think that filter that's inside that thing, in the cab of that big machine, you think that's filtering out the glyphosate that he's spraying all over his field and driving around in a cloud of it? He's just as much at risk. It might take a lot longer than it did because he's not bathing in it. But still going to be in the healthcare system for a hell of a lot of years. Still going to end up with cancer at the end of the road. When are we going to wake up? I mean, yeah, you got good profits coming in, but you're going to die too, motherfucker. You're going to probably die before us who are eating your shit. If you're a farmer doing this, yeah, you got good yields, you got good money rolling in. I hope you're going to need it to pay all your fucking medical bills at the end. So there's that. You're going to have a low quality of life in the last 10, 12 years to 20 years of your life. If you're lucky enough, well, you might only have 5 years of life. Who knows? But it's going to be 5 really miserable years. Is it worth it? Is that worth that extra profit? I mean, some of these motherfuckers are just so greedy that they're willing to sacrifice themselves for it. I don't get it. Why can't they just fucking be healthy? We know it's fucked up. That the jury has come back and said twice now that this is fucked up. We got 1,700 more cases in litigation. This is going to be going on for the next 30 years, and a lot of us are going to fucking die from glyphosate problems long before we actually get the shit taken off the market. See, the problem is Dave, you said for the most we wake up once we are close to one that is affected by it. It's going to be too late. You know, his only hope is that his family gets paid and that his children's children are somehow raised in a world with less glyphosate. I don't see any mention of nutrition going on here. At the same time, he got externally dosed with the shit. We know that it fucks us up internally over the long period of time. Yeah, we're not drinking glyphosate. You know, if we drank glyphosate every day for a week, we'd probably get fucked up pretty quick. But if we get these low doses of it, that aren't really low, but they're high enough to fuck us up, but clearly if you look at the trends, if you do the associations that are necessary, other variables and shit, epidemiology is shit, but if you look, this is one of the variables that could be attributed to many of the health concerns that we attribute to other things like fructose and you know, carbs and grains and lectins and oxalates and all of these other things that are in our natural environment that we struggle with. Would we still struggle with them if this chemical wasn't in our fucking food, in our water, in our air, on our bodies? Would we be able to tolerate these plant toxins, these plant allergens, gluten, for example? Would gluten intolerance in celiac disease is a recent phenomenon? Why? Because we didn't used to have these holes being drilled in our intestinal walls, allowing that to get in our blood. Celiac disease is on the rise, and it will continue to rise as long as glyphosate is in the mix. These are all my opinions. I'm not a fucking expert. So, Mr. White Tuber, what is keto? Too long didn't watch is keto is a high-fat, low-carb diet. It's the diet that I talk to. Please check out my YouTube channel, Scott the Truck Driver. I have tons of videos on it. Or just use the Googles. There's always the Googles. If you're unsure of one of the terms, you know, I can't really go into a lot of it because I'm trying to keep this to this topic right now. But Mr. White Tuber, you should definitely look into keto. It is what has fixed a lot of my health concerns, including my obesity at the time. So there's that.
You were covered in poison,
Yeah.
effectively, but you still thought that was okay.
You're right, because I got
Sam Key, I'll bet this dude never sees a penny even though he won. They already got it reduced. They took a lot of this pennies away to almost a negligible amount in terms of Monsanto Bayer profits. And you're right, he's not gonna live long enough to go through the appeal. His family is going to have to take up the appeal. And his kids will probably be in their 40s by the time they actually get paid. That's how long they're going to draw this out. They could take it all the way up to the fucking Supreme Court. And they have the money to do that. So it's a battle, and we're in the beginning of it. Which means in our lifetime, particularly mine at age 43, we're not going to see how this plays out. We got to take our precautions now. We can't wait around for this. You know, not that there's a whole lot of precautions we could take other than getting the high glyphosate foods down to a minimum in our diet. But even then, you're still not out of the water, because, so to speak. See what I did there? You know, there's all kinds of other exposures of this. This isn't just in all of our foods. It's in our water. It's in our air. In heavy agriculture areas, they're going to crop dust with the shit. That throws it in the air. It gets into the groundwater, gets into your drinking water. The drinking water that's served to you by 99% of restaurants. When you go to the restaurant and you order your food and you say, I'll take a water, please, because I'm keto and shit. That's tap water, filtered. Hope you're not in a heavy glyphosated drinking water area.
I got it on me a lot. I got it on me all the time.
How can they reduce it? What legit reasons can they have to reduce his rightful due? They did. He won like 280 something million, and it got dropped down to 76 million. I mean, anything over a couple million is more than his family needs. But it's about the punitive damages. They reduced it, and it's not as punishing. Now, there's another suit that happened after it that maybe Monsanto felt a little bit. They're like, oh, you know, the first, he's like a mosquito. They're like, oh, yeah, we're good there. Game on. The next one was more like a bee. A bee came in and stung him on the neck, and they're like, oh, fuck. Oh, we got to do something. This is getting to be bullshit. And the thing is, there's a swarm of bees that are ready to come in, and they're about to get stung to death. But, you know, see, the metaphorically speaking, he was the mosquito that started the whole craze, that got all the bees ready to come in and buzz. So between the legal battles and costs associated with that, it's the writing is on the wall. This is going to start a snowball effect that you've seen countless other industries go through when they poison us. And you're going to see that play out exactly the same way. There's going to be huge payouts. Companies may even go under and be replaced by Monsanto's bastard stepchildren corporation. You know, same people running the shit too, by the way, because none of them go to jail. None of them go get anything. It's all financial punishment. This should be criminal. It's poisoning people. Last I checked, if you poison someone and they fucking die, it's called murder. Doesn't that mean you go to prison? Monsanto's murdering the fuck out of people. Not a one of them's going to see the inside of a cell. Even if this plays out. And everybody gets awarded it. And Monsanto goes under. A new corporation with all of the same motherfuckers who worked at Monsanto will spring up. And follow the same profit playbook. I want to see fuckers go to jail for this. They're poisoning and killing people. They're murdering Mr. Johnson. I've watched enough true crime shit to know that means you go to jail. Including poison. How can a company poison you and kill people by the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if you look at pharmaceutical industries, and not go to fucking jail? No, we'll give them a fine. But they can still do business. I think if you make the decisions that lead to this kind of health impact, there should be a deterrent with criminal justice. You should, if you run a company that kills thousands of people with your products, be susceptible to a jail sentence. And the reason is that it'd make them a lot more fucking careful and a lot less corrupt. Not entirely. They'll still find ways to game the system. But it'd be a big deterrent if not only you're going to take away a lot of money, but you're not going to bankrupt the people that ran the company because they got their personal wealth isolated from their corporate wealth. At the same time, they're less likely to fucking do these things if they know that they could end up in a fucking prison cell for the rest of their life at the end of it. I think it should be 20 years sentence for each person that dies. And 10-year sentence for each person that gets sick. Do that. How many fucking corporate motherfuckers are going to be like, okay, maybe, hello? Somebody's going to be at Monsanto like, I don't want to go to jail, so maybe we should not put this shit in our food? Just saying. I mean, we got all of this science that we know is fucked up about it that we're trying to prevent from getting out. Maybe we should kind of take precautions because, jail and shit. No. They get fined and it doesn't even eat into a year of their profit margins. So they just keep doing business as usual. They look at it as a cost of doing business. This whole thing is being written off by the company as being like, okay, yeah, that sucked, but we're still good. That's why, Plus, we got all the medications to help these motherfuckers when they're sick. We're good to go. And Bayer and Monsanto are silent on this right now, probably because of the court would, if they fuck up, if they say the wrong thing, the lawyers are going to be like, the lawyers are all flying around, getting ready, coming in. As soon as they fuck up and say something. And remember that, the other day when I did the video about the guy for the airline industry, there's an army of those kinds of dudes working for Monsanto. And if one of them gets out there in the press and says the wrong thing, which, oh, by the way, where's all the press on this? I was surprised this came up in my 60 Minutes feed. I don't hear CNN. I don't hear any of these other motherfuckers here in the USA talking about it. Wonder why that is. It's curious. Very curious. So let me catch up with the chat again. Dave 101. That's when they change one ingredient in their product, change their name. Yep, that's exactly what they do. That's their playbook. Billions of dollars to play with. Trillions, I think. If you add it all up. I think Bayer has a pretty good chunk of the pharmaceutical industry out there. And if you think about our food industry, there's only, 8 companies total? So, yeah, they make up for losses in one sector with gains in another. And like I said, this is the perfect business model. They get you sick with the food, then they offer you the treatment. I mean, that's, if you were going to start a business, that's the fucking way to do it. Fuck everybody's health, but... So, Dubinsky, money talks, man. So sick that the $1 billion company and politicians and shit, so corrupt. I know, and why aren't we triggered about it? Well, we're triggered about it, but why isn't the general public triggered about it? Because they're too busy watching what Trump's doing, or watching what Ocasio-Cortez is doing, or any of these other motherfuckers that are politicians that really aren't doing anything to fix this at all on either side of the aisle. We're all distracted with that shit. We're worried about immigration at the border. Meanwhile, we're dying from this fucking poison that we allow into our food and environment everywhere. Why aren't we triggered about it? Your guess is as good as mine. We're more worried about politics and less worried about our health, apparently. We haven't talked shit about healthcare. We haven't talked shit about any of the important things to our daily lives. Are not being fucking addressed. Thank you, Duncan. By the government. Why? The bills, the monies, all kinds of monies and shit. This should be on all, Harold Callahan, this should be on all mainstream. I agree, but and I think they would be able to clickbait the fuck out of this if they rode the wave. What is stopping them? This would be awesome for views. They should put these fucking trials up on TV. People would be glued to them. I have to dig through archives just to find the closing arguments from this trial. And I have found the closing arguments from his lawyer. I don't know. I didn't hear I hope Monsanto's closing arguments are out there. I'm hoping to find that. I want to see the whole fucking case. I want to know what Monsanto did. I want to know their case that they made so that I can make fun of them. I'm hoping. If you guys ever find that, throw it in the comments to this video or up in the chat. If you can find Monsanto's closing arguments in this case. I know I have the lawyers, and I'm going to watch it. It's like 2 hours long. We'll do that in a stream probably. And it probably won't be able to go on YouTube. Well, maybe it'll go on YouTube. I got to try and watch it to where I don't stop it every fucking 10 minutes or minutes. So, yeah. Let me know if you see that in the comments. Thank you, Keto, Andy UK, and Duncan for your donations. Thank you for stopping by. It was good to see you again, Keto, Andy UK. Hope you can catch the replay on whatever you miss going forward. Dave 101, I think many big companies pay big bucks to keep many quiet. I know many big companies do that. That's fact. That's proven. Provable fact. Companies will do whatever possible, both in academia and in the government, to keep these things quiet. Unfortunately, it's the internet. And although they are working to control the internet, they are trying to censor, going through the tech industry platforms. This tinfoil hattie now, I know. But who's paying for the ads on YouTube? Who's advertising? I'm getting demonetized. Do you think it's coincidence that I talk shit about the people that are putting out the products that I talk shit about? It's not a weird tinfoil hatty thing to do. I'd like to think it's just the algorithm right now, and then I'm not a big enough fish for any, like, I'm not even a flea. You know, the corporations are like, oh, he's only got fucking 9,000 subscribers, 1,000, 2,000 views a video. We're good. We don't need to worry about him. He's the least of our problems. Now, that Thomas DeLauer motherfucker, we need to do something about him. He's promoting health and shit. I want Thomas DeLauer. If anybody knows, Thomas DeLauer he's got 1 million+ subscribers, and he needs to talk about this. He's all sciencey and shit, and I haven't heard a fucking word about this. This is nutrition science. This is poison in our food and environment that affects us in many ways. He's always spouting off the science that he regurgitates from other sources on his channel. Why not this? Why not Dr. Berg? Dr. Berg, where are you? Why can't we hear about this? I have to hear about how vegans are fucking up all the time. This is a much bigger problem than going plant-based in our fucking nutrition, in my book. So, and how old is Trump? He's eating fast food. The president had more energy than... He's also got the least health of any president that I've ever seen. Not to mention his mental health is questionable based on the standard American diet. So yeah, Dubinsky, yeah, he's got a lot of energy, but he's a lot of active. I can't question, I don't know his health stats. Believe me, if the media was able to pounce on that, they would. But I think they're too busy worrying about other things. So, not getting into politics, though. Trying to avoid politics. I just mentioned that we're triggered about politics when we should be triggered about this. I heard he's on Adderall. That wouldn't surprise me that he's on some kind of pharmaceuticals. I wonder, what is the pill list of the president? That's an interesting question. He's still not even concerned with this shit, though, because why? Money. You can't get into politics without corporate money. It's just not going to happen. Let's see here. Maybe Thomas DeLauer is afraid of Monsanto. You think? You think that he'd up? But he makes enough to take out ads. I don't know. Would they throttle his channel if he talked about this? Is this considered tinfoil hat by the CEO of YouTube or the Googles? I thought Google was big enough on its own to not have to worry about Monsanto. I'm hoping. We'll see. We'll see.
Every morning now.
A lot of people, if I put glyphosate in the title, they won't even bother with it because they're like, I don't give a shit about glyphosate.
I always get the drift, always get a little bit on my cheeks.
I'm going to have to really think of a fucking title to draw people in. I'm going to have to work on my clickbait skills.
Forehead, because I only can have so much coverage.
In 2014, Lee developed a rash on his knee that started to spread over...
My God.
His entire body.
Why isn't someone in prison for that?
It was serious. It was very ugly. And it became painful.
Fuck fines. Prison.
So I went to get help from a local clinic. And it just snowballed from there, where I ended up from that doctor to a dermatologist to having biopsies to being diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
I think I need to make it more vague, Duncan. Instead of just I've put glyphosate in the title in the past and nobody seemed to give a shit. I need to make it so I draw the average motherfucker to this video to get them fired up and triggered.
Decided to take Monsanto on.
He had even their title wasn't. They're not going to get. How'd they do on views on this so far? So 63,000 views. This is a mainstream media fucking channel with 1.13 million subscribers. I think if I even put glyphosate in here, it's going to get fucking taken down or reduced impressions.
Type of cancer called mycosis fungoides.
If 60 Minutes can't get the fucking views, how the fuck am I supposed to? I mean, 63,000 with 1 million subscribers is a shit video. You know? If they can't get it across, who am I fucking reaching? I can only hope that y'all share it with people and say, look, let's watch this. You know, especially if you know somebody that's being all healthy and shit.
Which is a type of lymphoma that was very aggressive. And that's actually why his case was the first one to go to trial. Right now, we're in that moment when the first lawsuits expose the truth about cigarettes. We're in the same exact moment right now, historically, for Roundup. 40 years from now, we're going to look back at this time and go, what fools we were. Of course it.
And how did that play out with the tobacco industry? Okay, so we got less smokers. We got way more vapors now. How's that working out right now? As we speak, we're seeing symptoms already. There's people that are vaping, and they're starting to experience health problems. New health problems. Not the same health problems that tobacco had, but new health problems nonetheless. So what was the playbook? Okay, less smokers, but we got a lot of vapors. We just need to tell all the smokers that this is healthier. You can do this instead of that, and you'll avoid all of the problems of that. Until 10 years from now, when we get the final verdict on whether or not vaping is healthy or not. But it's the same fucking playbook. Chemical goes bad, or we put a new chemical on the market. Chemical kills hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people perhaps. Oh shit, we find out that this is bad, and because we didn't do any science on it, we only find out it's bad because the entire fucking population is dealing with this illnesses and problems. Oh, we gotta outlaw that chemical. And then back to square one. New chemical. Same 10-year, 20-year span of us testing it for free. Unless we're fortunate enough to sue them 5 years before we die.
That causes cancer. How did it take us so long to figure it out? But in that fight, in that moment, it's hard to see that history that's being made right now.
Roundup Pro or Ranger Pro design a substantial factor in causing harm to Mr. Johnson. And
can anyone tell me, I left you a little cliffhanger there, if you know of a video that has this trial, I will watch the whole fucking trial.
Answer, yes.
The jury found that Roundup did cause Lee Johnson's cancer.
They're just like, that's not good. That's the look of, I just got my ass kicked in court.
And awarded him $289 million US, later reduced to $78 million.
How the hell that fucking happened? How do we go from 298 million down to 72 million? I don't fucking know. You think Monsanto's taking this line down? Nope, they're calling all cars here. It's a big legal battle, and it's only just begun. All the other bees are going to come in and try and sting them. And they're putting on all kinds of glyphosate to keep the bees from getting to them. They're going to stop them. You're going to see new scientific studies, new papers, all kinds of new evidence that they're currently making to go through these trials and appeals. They're fighting it. They're not going to admit defeat. Admit means bigger fines. They're going to fight it all the way to the end. And they're going to fight dirty. They're going to appeal every decision because they can afford to. They're going to draw this out as long as possible to keep those profits flowing in before this gets outlawed. And the government is going to let it happen because they have that revolving door that we've gone over in the past, to where the current government regulators have nice cushy jobs waiting for them at Bayer or Monsanto when they get done. And then they cycle out their employees back into these government positions, that revolving door that allows this shit to go on.
And now subject to...
Let me Flavored cigarettes are now not legal down here, but we will sell separate little flavor sheets so you could still flavor them. LOL. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really explored the whole vaping thing. I've heard a few headlines here and there. I don't vape, so it's not a big concern to me, but it's an example of something that is new that we are doing that we haven't properly tested to figure out if it's safe for us to be doing it. And it's just that same playbook we see whenever a company puts some shit on us. We finally figure it out after how long have we been smokers for before we finally figured that shit out? We used to have doctors saying it was healthy. Remember that? I don't. It was before I was born, but still. That kind of stupidity takes place in the modern day with new chemicals and new products. So it is what it is. I'm always skeptical when I'm told to consume a product, a pharmaceutical, to be healthy or a supplement.
To an appeal.
It was a pretty large amount, and people in the courtroom, it was totally quiet. You could hear a pin drop. It even looked like the judge was a little bit amazed. It was just a really big situation at that time. It was pretty heavy.
If his victory wasn't stunning enough, Monsanto hadn't seen anything yet. In May this year, another Californian jury awarded Alva and Alberta Pilliod $1 billion each.
Now that they will feel. $1 billion each. That's $2 billion right there on the second fucking lawsuit. $2 billion. The shareholders are going to be like, oh shit. We need to get that knocked down from $2 billion. We need to get that back down to $80 million. Well, there's a precedent now for this lowering of the fucking thing. We need to take that up to the next fucking appeal court. They are not going to see $2 billion. That's my prediction. It's going to go through appeals. No $2 billion for them. That's a punitive thing. They don't need $2 billion. They're on the way out. They both got cancer. Their kids are going to be wealthy for generations if they ever get that money. Notice I said if. Just because they won that case, I don't trust it until the fucking check gets written. Till it's in their fucking account.
For cancers they claimed were caused by 30 years exposure to Roundup.
Honestly, if they awarded all 17,000 people that are suing them right now, if they gave them $1 billion each, that would still not bankrupt Bayer or Monsanto. Do you realize that? Even if they awarded everybody $1 billion, they'd feel it. Their stock prices would fucking drop. It'd be a miserable hellhole for them. But I think they could even afford to pay every sick person $1 billion. It's not enough punishment. Put them in jail.
With Roundup in danger of being trampled to death in a legal stampede, it's perhaps little wonder that at company headquarters in St. Louis, Monsanto and its new parent company, Bayer, circled the wagons. The German pharmaceutical giant Bayer paid almost 100 billion Australian dollars to take control of these Monsanto headquarters. But since
So they paid $100 billion for the company, and they just lost $2 billion. All right, so maybe they would feel it if we could set the precedent. But still, nobody's going to jail. Everybody that works on Monsanto has a job somewhere else at another company that's probably going to be brand new to take up the fucking gap in the agriculture industry that would be left by Monsanto going under. Nobody's going to go to prison. That's my prediction. Even if every lawsuit wins and we take down Monsanto, unless we A, make it illegal for glyphosate, and B, send motherfuckers to jail for poisoning the American people, or the world, if you think about it, it's just going to be more of the same. More of the same shit. We're not going to right the ship unless there's legit deterrence and penalties in place for these corporations. It's just not going to happen.
Johnson's breakthrough victory, perhaps it's having second thoughts about that massive purchase.
Is there an actual law protecting their crimes? I don't know the legalities of it because I'm not a fucking lawyer. I just know that nobody ever goes to jail unless it's direct fraud. If they directly defraud people, And then even then, they get like some fucking white-collar bullshit 6-month sentence or some shit. You know, if they rob a bunch of people, if they do a financial crime, they can go to jail. But poisoning motherfuckers, whoops, sorry. Our science was wrong. I blame Harvard, Princeton.
You see, the list of lymphoma sufferers claiming compensation is exploding by about 200 people a week here in the US alone. So far, some 17,000 people say the weed killer is killing them. But despite those claims, the manufacturer is still insisting their product is complete.
There's the evil symbol of Monsanto. Why does it look kind of like a smiley face with the evil, like, squinty eyes and
you wouldn't
like
be
weird
fucking with me now, would you?
fucking nose? This is the symbol of evil in our modern time.
Completely safe and has no
Thank
links
you
whatsoever
for the
to any
lemon.
cancer.
And it's not true. They're just lying. I mean, we know that they're lying because we have the data. We have their own studies that they've themselves conducted that show when you expose animals or expose humans to this, you see genetic damage, you see lymphoma.
So they didn't even hide the shit in their bought and paid for studies very well, that it was able to be used as evidence against them. That's pretty awesome. But not to mention there is some independent studies out there that are not well funded and not well done, but they'll poke holes in it.
Do you think it's killing people?
Yes, it is killing people out there. And they should know that this product is not really safe to use.
To eat. And not once have they mentioned that we're eating the shit. Not once. They're very hyper-focused. I think if they did some investigative journalism, which they've been fairly good about on this particular mainstream media outlet, enough to make me want to watch their shit periodically. But why aren't we concerned that we're eating the shit? You know, it's not all about the lawns. They're focused on the lawns. There should be fucking B-roll of fucking grocery stores filled with cereal right now flowing in here. Imagine if they added that into this, how much more triggering that would be for the general fucking people, you know? So, Dave 101, my own conspiracy is there. I don't think it goes to global population reduction. I think it goes to money. How much money, power, and influence can we have? That is the simplest fucking explanation for why they do this. They want the money, they want the power, they want to dominate their respective markets. They want their stock prices to go up so that they can buy bigger shit and more houses and more businesses and buy more and more and more. Bear wants to control both our agriculture and pharmaceutical industries at the same time. Thank you for the follow, the police 1414. So, you know, that's what they're motivated. They're not trying, the corporations don't care. In fact, they don't want to kill the population off because we're their source of income. They want us out there working, buying their pharmaceuticals, their shitty foods, and getting sick and funding, like, what is it? Healthcare is a quarter of our fucking economy. They don't want to kill us off. They want to continue to siphon us for our life, our work, our wealth, directly paid to Bayer after Monsanto gets done taking it in from our food purchases. You know, that's pretty simple greed and lust for power is the motivating factor. I don't think they care about overpopulation or anything like that. That's my tinfoil hat, is they want more money and power. They want to dominate their market. They are anti-competitive. They should be fucking broken down. You know, Monsanto controls way too much of our agriculture. And controlling the food is pretty tantamount to controlling the population, wouldn't you say?
So I went to see the specialist. He gave me another blood test to see, you know, what I had, and he came out with leukemia.
Leukemia?
Yep.
Very confronting when you hear that.
It is. It was just devastating. It took my whole life. It just turned, especially when the doctor said you got cancer.
See, now they've always been very specific, you know, and I haven't seen this particular interview, about non-Hodgkin's lymphoma being the cancer What other cancers are linked to glyphosate at this point? Maybe all of them. Wouldn't that be a thing? I mean, cancer has risen steadily alongside the use of glyphosate in our fucking system, so there's that correlation, but things to think about. Now, you gotta get careful because you can't blame everything on glyphosate, but you can blame a lot on glyphosate right now.
I just felt, this is the end of me, you know what I mean? And I thought, this is it, I'm gone. I'm gone.
Shouldn't have been greedy.
No doubt in my mind what's caused my cancer. Yeah. No doubt whatsoever.
There's a lot of people.
I gotta wonder about the farmers that are still lobbying to keep this product. How can they not feel something when they see one of their fellow farmers dying and essentially suing Monsanto for it? Now, granted, all of these farmers are told it's safe. But wouldn't you as a farmer start questioning? I mean, I'm worried about it being in some of the keto foods that I have. I don't eat grain or anything like that. Imagine if you're a farmer and you're bathing and breathing the shit day after fucking day, and some of your friends are down the road that are farmers are suddenly having to fucking go to the hospital and they're talking about they're going to sue, and you're all sitting down at the bar drinking your glyphosate beer at the end of the week, and Joe comes in and he's like, oh, well, I can't wait. I'm about to get rich and sue me some fucking Monsanto and shit. I'm dying. My doctor just told me I have fucking 5 years to live, but so, yeah, beer's on me tonight. Wouldn't you ask yourself, and then the next day you go and you sit in your little machine and you're like, oh, yeah, glyphosate, oh, yeah. And wouldn't you start to question if you're a farmer? Why not? I think Dave 101 summed it up pretty well with the $3 signs there.
People out there using this product and having this kind of disease, whatever it might be, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or leukemia, whatever, it's pretty serious out there.
There is an epidemic of lymphoma in our society, and it's date coincidence with the emergence and proliferation of Roundup in our culture. It's not a coincidence. We know what's causing it, and Monsanto and Bayer need to do something about it.
Finding that Roundup and its key ingredient, glyphosate, was carcinogenic has shocked farmers around the world.
What about people eating the shit? Why aren't we shocked around the world?
Down near St. Louis, the gateway to the West, where Roundup was invented 40 years ago. Out on cropping
and it's also along the Mississippi Delta, isn't it?
Farms like J.
Imagine that.
Armstrong's.
If you look at the glyphosate map, how does that work out?
And we sprayed this about 5 days ago, and it will die. Now here's grass, it kills easier. And so what it does is it lets me have a clean field. If it wasn't for this stuff would just grow like a carpet, engulf your crop.
So all that crop, all those properties using Roundup.
Right.
As far as the eye can see, all these crops are genetically modified to resist Roundup. Vats of the herbicide sit inside Jay's shed, ready for use. But he claims because of its selective potency, costs have been slashed and productivity has skyrocketed.
You couldn't do it in a non-chemical way? Is that possible?
Well,
AKA more dollar signs and shit.
Well, of course, organics, they don't use chemicals.
Is that possible?
I don't think you feed the world with organic food.
That's because you're a piece of shit. You could absolutely feed the world with fucking organic farming. If every farmer farmed organically, there would be plenty of fucking food for everyone. You wouldn't have big, huge fucking yachts and houses and mansions and shit. You wouldn't be a billionaire, like $1 billion industry out of the deal. So that's probably a factor. But you could absolutely do it. Or we've been feeding the world population throughout history this way. Monsanto piss is brand spanking new in terms of that. 100 years or so of us fucking with chemicals in our agriculture. Before that, it was all done the old-fashioned way. And yeah, there were famines. But I think we've improved our logistics quite a bit with just-in-time delivery systems and trucks pumping all kinds of carcinogens into the fucking air while they're going down the highway, hauling your fucking fruits and vegetables to your nearest Walmart and putting the glyphosate-soaked GMO bullshit right on the shelf, making it look nice and healthy and pretty for you to fucking shove in your face. Of course, you're going to walk right past that to the cereal aisle and the bread aisle and fucking load up on all the fucking glyphosate and then blame it on the standard American diet as to why you're not healthy. You know, just a thing. I went down the rabbit hole on that one. I'm sorry.
Studies have shown that organic food costs about 30% more than conventionally grown food.
Because you guys are being anti-competitive against fucking organic farmers. If you've watched anything about the organic farmers, their number one thing they bitch about is the industry is making it difficult for them to even have a thriving business. They're being regulated out. They're being, inspected more than the fucking industrial agriculture sites are. They are prone to more regulation. We covered this in a past stream too. They're not making it business friendly. They're being anti-competitive in their regulations. Thanks to that revolving door again, controlling regulations, allowing organic farmers to it's making it more difficult for them, hence the higher prices. If they made it easy, if instead of subsidizing glyphosate-filled corn, we took those subsidies and threw them over to the organic farmers, you'd see organic farmers sprout up all over the fucking place. Because there'd be money in it then. But no, you want to know who's subsidized? This motherfucker right here with the fucking warehouse full of fucking poison that he's about to spray on all of his fucking crop fields and destroy all the mineral content of that soil. Organic farm is a renewable way of farming. You can organic farm to your heart's content and never kill the soil. Not to mention monocrops are a piece of shit too, but that's a whole other fucking argument. This motherfucker right here. These are the motherfuckers that aren't going to stop until they get cancer. That's the thing. He's going to keep doing this until he walks into his doctor one day and his doctor's like, look, sorry, you got 5 years. Did you have a good run? Was it worth it?
You wouldn't get your yield
I wouldn't get my
this.
yield, right.
Let me ask you a personal question. So you've been using glyphosate for 40 years?
Probably, yeah.
You've been one way or the other exposed to it
right, yeah.
for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Are you worried
No.
at all about getting cancer yourself?
No. I don't know anybody that's even gotten sick.
I don't want to be too judgy here, but I'm looking at somebody who's not very healthy here. You know, if I were interviewing him, I'd be like, are you on any medications? What kind of health? How's your health? You know, now he's prepared to fucking defend tooth and nail glyphosate right here. Because why? Money.
From using Roundup, or for that matter, any other chemical.
That court case hasn't changed your mind?
No.
That's because you're a fucking greedy bitch. That's why that court case didn't change your mind.
These are American juries that are making these decisions. And as we know, juries make decisions for all sorts of reasons. And as farmers, we have to try and stick with the science.
Fiona Simpson.
The Monsanto unbiased science. We're going to stick with that. Fuck the court case that disproves that science. We're going to stick to science. Because science and shit.
Is the boss of Australia's peak farming body, the NFF.
But these juries have heard the scientific evidence from both sides.
And they've also seen with their own eyes the suffering of these people. And I think that is in itself absolutely a compelling reason to make a decision a certain way, which is why we have to stay with the science.
Hello? The court case should make you question the science, because the science gets torn apart, which is why I so desperately want to watch the entire trial. I want to see the science. I want to see the arguments about the science. I want to see what Monsanto says. I want to see what the defense says. I want to see the case. And so I can be a part of the jury in terms of determining how fucked up Monsanto is. Now, granted, I'm biased because I already fucking hate them and I've already seen a lot of evidence on it, but this is the ignorance that allows this to go on. What she is saying right here. This is why it's not going to stop anytime soon. They are so addicted to this way of working, they aren't willing to do anything to inconvenience or lower their profit margins or anything. Nor can they, because the bureaucracy has made it more difficult to go organic. Yeah, you're right, Dave. Huge conflict of interest here, and this is ignorance. This is, we're good. You know, the science that was pencil whipped by Monsanto, that's been proven in court too, that they were being shady about the science. You know, but no, it's the feelings. It was the jury's feelings. Do you think every member of that jury, most people you talk to about glyphosate are going to go in, yeah, they're going to see Dwayne Johnson and be like, oh, well, yeah. But he's pretty externally, you know, yeah, that would generate an emotional response seeing him sitting in the courtroom. What about that old couple? I don't know. I walked around fucking the grocery store the other day and I seen plenty of old people look just like them. That's not going to garner a lot of sympathy. Plus, they're old. You know? Yet they got $1 billion award each. They made it to old age. Mr. Johnson's not going to get that far. I think Mr. Johnson should get the bigger payout. No, he gets 79 million? You know, this rationality by these farmers is ridiculous. Wake the fuck up. We didn't need it before. We didn't need the fucking glyphosate. We could do without it. Let's stop it. All right? You don't even have to go full organic. Introduce the next chemical. Maybe the next chemical will not kill us as quickly. I'll take it. I know that's what you're going to fucking do anyway. You're not going to go back to fucking old school tilling and organic farming because it's more work and it's not profitable. And it isn't because we've regulated the shit out of it. We've made it anti-competitive. You can't have an organic farm without a Monsanto motherfucker knocking on the door. Hey, those are GMO seeds that you just fucking planted that accidentally polluted your field. Oh, is that our weed killer killing your... I know it's the guy next door used it, but you didn't use our shit, did you? Because you owe us money if you did. You know, not to mention the rules and regulations and inspectors that are beating the shit out of the organic industry. They're doing all the right things in these organic farms. Their animals are healthy. Their fields are healthy. Yet they get these inspectors coming in and beat the shit out of them. With regulation and things that cost money. And then you wonder why you pay fucking $18 for an organic ribeye. Because they have to deal with all of that. And they have to get their shit up to regulation, which costs a lot of extra money. Shit that they probably wouldn't have to have an expense for. Not to mention they don't see a dime of subsidies. Whereas the wheat, the corn, all of these monocrops, the ones that she's planting right there that she's talking about, these monoculture crops for industrial agriculture, they don't get held to the same standards. Welcome to the debauchery that is the conspiracy of our food and health.
We have to stay with the facts. And the science, as we're told it at the moment, is that there is no link.
But not all scientists agree.
Keyword at the moment, motherfucker. Well, I think the science on us, the guinea pigs, has come in. How much fucking evidence do we need? How many people need to die before you go, maybe the science isn't right? How many fucking smokers died before they fucking woke up? Huh? And there's still people smoking to this day. Even raise the price and put taxes on it. People are still smoking. Because they don't give a shit.
Roundup is safe.
And there's always going to be farmers like her that don't give a shit. Even if you tell them, look, science and shit. We finally got an unbiased... Oh, wait. He had his paper retracted and got beat down by about 10 other fucking scientists. Okay, no, it's still glyphosate's still safe. I'm gonna go have me a fucking bowl of glyphosate right now after this interview, dickheads.
What's the science telling us about this right now?
Right now, we're saying there's a suggestion that it may cause cancer. There are some signals.
May cause cancer. I don't even know if we get a warning on the bottle. Do we get a warning? Did they legislate that yet?
That it may cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Last I checked, if something causes cancer, there's legislation out there in some states anyway that says you have to have a fucking warning on your fucking label. I'm going to have to go through Walmart one of these days and go and look at the Roundup and see what kind of warning labels they have on it.
Professor Lynn Fritchie.
Because the last time I seen Monsanto talk about it, they had a motherfucker on screen saying, you could drink the shit. And then the fucking person interviewing him was like, well, here, I happen to have some glyphosate right here. Drink up, motherfucker. And the guy was like, nope, I'm not gonna. But you can. It's safe.
It means it's classified as a probable carcinogen, and that's a measure of the strength of evidence. So there's some evidence that glyphosate causes cancer, but it's not sufficient to be really...
AKA Monsanto is fighting it. When you got a bunch of junk science beating the shit out of these small researchers, you end up with not enough evidence to support it being, it fucking causes cancer! It fucking causes cancer. Zero doubt in my mind. Given the evidence shown and the anecdotal. Remember I say always weigh the anecdotal because that is actually a lot less biased than the actual science. This is the number one reason why you need to do that. You need to take into account all the anecdotal evidence and weigh it equally to the science, because the science is so fucking corrupt, you don't know whether they're telling the truth or not. And they're even so fucked up that they're able to use some of their own science against them. That means that the science they did was not up to snuff. They were able to find a scientist who could pick apart those studies and say, look, this is not legit. Not to mention the emails that were uncovered where they were trying to cover up the independent research. They were panicking about it. They got whitewashing going on where they send off scientific papers to their bought and paid for scientists. Sometimes without even reading it, that scientist then puts his name on it and submits it for publication. And then all of his Monsanto funded fucking peers review that paper and it gets published in all of the major journals. So then the government looks in those major journals when they're making laws and regulations and goes, not to mention that they've used to work there or have a nice job lined up when they're done, they go, oh, well, look, it's good. You can drink it. No, put it in the cornflakes. It's good. Yeah, get some fucking shit in your beer. Yeah, it's good. We're good. It's nothing to see here. They just felt sorry for him. That's why he won. The science is good. Fucking...
about that.
Probably carcinogenic.
Probably carcinogenic, yes.
When Monsanto, now Bayer, says there's 800 studies saying there's absolutely no link between cancer and glyphosate, are they
No. No.
telling the truth?
Certainly not from my point of view. We certainly found some studies that showed an association between glyphosate and cancer, both in animals and in humans.
Would you drink it?
No.
No, but you are. You are. We all are. Would you drink it? The answer to that is yes, you would. You are. Every single motherfucker that's watching this, you're drinking it. Would you drink it? Knowingly? No. If someone put a big glass of fucking water and just put 4 drops of it in there, would you drink it? We're drinking it. We don't give a shit. I give a shit. Not much I can do about it. It's not like I can stop drinking water. I try and pick where I get my water from. That's why I do Poland Springs, because I know I've been there. I know exactly where it is in Maine. It's like in the middle of nowhere in Maine without a lot of agriculture going on around it. So chances are that water has a lower glyphosate level than, say, water bottled in, like, Missouri. Or anywhere in the Mississippi Delta, or anywhere near the Great Lakes. Just saying. I'm hoping. I haven't tested it. That's my theory. That's why I choose that brand of water to drink for the most of the time. It's not that I think it's magical. It's not that I'm not worried about the plastic bottles, but less so than the glyphosate. You know, that's my thing. Yeah, you ask any rational individual, would you drink the shit? And they're going to laugh and say, oh, no. But we're all fucking drinking and eating the shit. You can check this. Just look up glyphosate test. Probably costs a nice little pretty penny to do. It has been done in humans, as she mentioned. Pregnant mothers had it in their breast milk that they were feeding their newborn fucking children. We are all drinking this shit every single day.
Definitely not. There have been deaths in Australia from drinking glyphosate, so definitely it's not.
Deaths? I haven't heard that.
Not completely non-toxic. I mean,
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
it's ridiculous.
I need to look that shit up. Somebody that drank glyphosate.
But I think also people sometimes forget that you are surrounded by toxic.
You know what? We're going to do that right now. I might have to cut to it. Not a Monsanto weed killer doesn't say acute poisoning with glyphosate and CBI. What the hell is this? Let's look at this study. It studies science and shit. Abstract between 30 September 93 cases of exposure to herbicides containing glyphosate were in the blah 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 hospital. The average amount of 41% solution herbicide ingested by non-survivors was 184 plus or minus. That's a lot of shit. But much larger amounts, 500 milliliters, were reported to have been ingested by some patients and only resulted in mild to moderate symptomology. Accidental exposure was this looks like a bullshit study. Other organs were less than and of course I can't read the whole study. Yeah, I only get the abstract because they don't want us all to know. They don't want it to be able for us to research everything. But this is probably a Monsanto study that manipulates. Imagine that. That's number 2 on the fucking list? Glyphosate poisoning. So I'm not going to find it there. The media surely has picked up on that. I mean, she said that. Glyphosate Roundup, the claim about drinking it. Let's see what a blogger has to say about it. One of the extremist comments a year, the garden path, it's blah, 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 blah. Personally, I don't advocate using a lot of Roundup, but I'm not afraid of herbicides. How many people do you know who drink Roundup? Everybody. Everybody drinks Roundup. You just don't know it. The article is introduced extreme Roundup. I don't see anything. So I don't know anybody that had acuteness. At least the Google monster's not telling me. Let me go to page 3. Roundup cancer as weed killer traces. New study about Roundup and cancer. Yeah, more Monsanto science. I don't even honestly want to click a lot of the science because of this. Because of Monsanto's propaganda that they've been pumping out for the last fucking 30 years on this shit. It's going to be hard to find anything. Glyphosate, Newsweek, scientists who refuse to drink Roundup. There's that. Anyways, I'll dig deeper in the future.
Chemicals in your house, in your everyday life. There's a multi-million-dollar case at the moment about talcum powder. The tablets we put in our dishwasher, they are incredibly toxic, yet we wash our plates in them every day. So
that's that talcum powder that we're going to get to next.
Is it really about removing everything that's toxic from our lives, or is it actually about how you manage those risks?
So, yeah, it's impossible for us to remove these toxins from our lives. But when we find a bad one, and glyphosate's a bad one, we need to remove that toxin from our life. There are other toxins. The air we breathe, there's plastics, there's off-gassing. We're getting toxics exposed to us all the time. But when those toxins increase our healthcare costs, decrease our quality of life significantly, and kill us, we might want to remove those particular toxins or our exposure to them. Some toxins we can't remove, and we have to just limit our exposure to survive. We're all going to fucking die of something. And we're all going to die in our 80s, if we're lucky, without any toxins. It is possible to live in your 80s and 90s. Still to this day, there are people that get exposed to all this shit and don't die. How they become the unicorns they are, I don't know. How many pills they have to take to get to that finish line is another question to answer. How long do they have to spend at the doctor's on a regular basis to make it to that 80 to 90 years old? I don't know. It's not something I'm looking to do when I'm old. If I die at 65, 70, it's going to be something like this. It's not going to be a year after year of pills and pills and pills and fucking doctor visits and scans and tests and shit. No. When I go out, it's going to be, I went out in the woods and I forgot to pack the right shit and I ended up, something happened. That's what's going to happen to me. That's my prediction. Can't control it. I realize that. I'm hoping it's not glyphosate-related illness, because that means I wasted a whole lot of time in my life trying to be healthy, and there was nothing I could have done about it. That's what I'm hoping. That's why I'm so angry about this, because despite my efforts over the past almost 5 years to fix my health, this is still going on and could derail all of it. So.
What's clear in this
Oh,
debate?
you looked up Harold Callahan. Thanks for the due diligence. Coors Light glyphosate detected 31.1 parts per billion. Budweiser glyphosate detected 27 parts per billion. And I know a great many beer drinkers who are willfully unaware of that. Alcohol has problems of its own. When you mix it with glyphosate, I'd say you're pretty well fucked. I'd be interested to know what the stats on liquor are, so if you're busy Googling that, Harold, feel free to throw that in the chat, because I can't really Google it right now. But Scott being... you think I'm going to have a grabber or a stroke because my fucking veins popped out because Monsanto pissed me off one too many times or something? That's a viable prediction. I could roll with that prediction. Steak overdose is the way to go. Yeah, as long as I get my ribeyes, if I'm dying from glyphosate poison, I better still be able to get my ribeyes. If them vegans take away my fucking ribeyes, then all my quality of life is gone. It's going to be on at that point.
Dangerous as tobacco or asbestos.
It's like, let's worry about cow farts. How's that going for us? The worrying about cow farts in our environment.
But what's also clear is that the Australian authority...
I wonder what Dr. Greger thinks of this.
...who regulates the use of herbicides...
He probably put his little whiny... the science doesn't really support it. You can fucking drink the shit.
...country, the APVMA, has gone missing in action.
Not my best Greger impression.
...action when it comes to protecting Australians from a potentially deadly chemical. All users of Roundup should be fully covered. Gloves, goggles, respirator, and protective...
But then they say we could drink the shit. I don't need to wear PPE because I can drink it. Not to mention the most important part of their body isn't even fucking covered.
...suit. But even in the nation's capital, council workers weren't wearing masks when we filmed them.
You need a full helmet, not masks. You need that fucking biohazard suit. That's what you need, with oxygen tanks on the fucking back. Yeah, you think they're going to do that when they're spraying the lawn for fucking minimum wage?
With approval.
So any of these people that are doing it on the verges like this, or in the backyards, you think definitely a mask as well?
Yes, they should. I mean, that's what the manufacturer recommend. It's actually a respirator, which means it actually has to have a filter in it that's filtering the product.
Well, these guys are not doing it.
No,
I haven't seen too many gardeners doing that sort of thing.
No, I've never seen a gardener doing it, no.
That's because these are all very low-wage individuals paid by usually even government agencies to do this shit that don't have a huge budget to fucking be spending on protecting their workers from the harmless glyphosate. They're not going to spend money to give them the proper gear. And you need some serious fucking gear if you're going to avoid exposure to that when you're spraying it all fucking over the place. It's in the air around you. You're in a cloud of it. It's going to get its residue all over you. Any exposed piece of skin, which does absorb shit. Hell, I take Epsom salt baths to absorb magnesium through my skin. What do you think's happening when you take a bath in glyphosate? It's as good as drinking it. As good as drinking it. And we can see from Mr. Johnson, that's exactly what happened to him.
So this is what the majority of gardeners are picking up in Bunnings, aren't they? I mean,
Yes.
Where are the safety directions on that?
So the safety directions are on the back. It says avoid contact with the eyes and wash hands after use.
So, thanks for posting this link up. This was posted by Harold Callahan. So this is where he got his beer numbers from, and I haven't seen this, so let's see. This is a great thing about doing this as a live stream, is you never know what you're going to get. Glyphosate, the active ingredient of Monsanto's Roundup, the studies have linked to cancer, is also the secret ingredient in 20 popular beers and wines. Imagine that, all you drinkers out there that are on the ketogenic diet and still having the occasional beer, and I know a lot of ketoers who are all about the wines and shit. Not to mention the fatty liver and all the other problems with alcohol, but that's a whole other video. We'll get into it. Don't worry. I got plenty of trigger to go around. It's the finding of this new study. Let's take a look at the new study. What's the new study say? Glyphosate in wine and beer. Looks like a nice... let's see here. Kara Cook. It's only one... Okay, so you fund individuals contribute their generous support to work in public health and consumer issues. So this looks like an independently funded deal. Imagine that. I'm not reading the whole fucking thing. But this is there on that article, if you find it. This is called Glyphosate Found in 19 of 20 beers, which pretty much means all beer. I don't know about beer that's made in some dude's basement, craft beers and shit, so I don't know. But something to think about. Wines, 51 parts per billion. These are all over the current guidelines, by the way. I do. What are the current guidelines of glyphosate? Glyphosate guidelines, food levels. EPA is a stash. Okay.
Shit the bed.
So look at this. Thank you for the follow, Roysty. So I don't know why all my shit's all zoomed out. All right. The FDA's where I want to see the numbers. Where's the numbers? I thought I saw it in the thing. Eggs. I want the numbers. The parts per billion. What is the amount that's allowed? Where is it? I thought I saw it. Questions and answers. What is the FDA's roles? What is the what is the EPA established for tolerance? All right, there it is. Ranging from 0.1 to 310 parts per billion. And, tolerances for in a wide range of crops, including corn, soybean, oil seeds, vegetable oils. Remember all that problems about vegetable oils maybe causing possible breakouts and problems with my cheat days? Or even non-cheat days if you're eating keto and you're getting seed oils. Well, there you go. It's allowed in there. Grains, some fruits and vegetables rating from 0.1 to 310 parts per million. That's a pretty wide range for the established tolerances. How is 310 parts per million allowed? Guarantee you that's grain. So, how's your drinking? It's not just your water, but your beer. It's all of those crops. It's your fruits and vegetables. And then we wonder why Carnivore is being so successful right now. Frank Tufano should be all over that shit. So, yeah. Interesting stuff. Thanks for that contribution to the content there, Harold.
Say anything about wearing a mask or a respirator?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Well, how come that's not on the bottle?
Because it doesn't have to be under Australian regulations. The safety instructions are only available.
Not like that here either.
So
on
remember
the safety earlier when I said we need to look at the bottles? I guarantee you it's not on our bottles either.
Data sheet, which has to be downloaded from the web.
But why isn't the Australian regulator saying, hey, listen, to the manufacturer...
They probably got the same fucking revolving door we have.
You need to put those instructions on the packaging.
I have no idea.
I have an idea. Money, revolving door, Monsanto pissing all over our science. That adds up to not putting regulations on shit. That's why. Because if we started to look at the evidence, we'd have to put a fucking label on it. Isn't California supposed to be leading the way, putting cancer labels on everything?
That's clearly they should be saying that to the manufacturer.
When you were spraying this stuff, what sort of personal protection would you use?
I didn't use no protection, Liam, because there was no thing on the label saying you got to wear any protections. All it said on the label that don't spray near waterways, near ponds, or...
Yeah, it's okay to get in your fucking groundwater, which runs off into the waterways. Thankfully, some of that will get filtered out by the minerals in the soil, which will bind to it, but still, it's going to end up in the water. And then the parts per million in your fucking water goes up.
Oh, drainage. And don't spray near...
Germany banning Roundup in 2022. I do believe, Roysty, that a bunch of countries are starting to ban it. Even after they ban it, it's going to take a while for it to disappear from the environment. It will disappear. It'll bind to various minerals, make them unavailable, and then hopefully you can recover by doing some organic farming on that same soil, and you'll reintroduce new minerals as animals die, because bone meal is part of the fertilization process when you use an organic farming solution. You know, we need to reintroduce these things into our soil to really clean this up. There are some bacterias that are known to consume glyphosate, which is interesting. We need to explore that as a tool for cleaning up our soil, or our water for that matter. You know, can we send the bacteria and have them get rid of the glyphosate and then kill off that bacteria if it's harmful to us? These are all science questions that no one is looking into. I wish. You know, it's one thing to ban it. It's another thing to clean it up. And I think Monsanto should pay for all of that on its way out the door.
Animals.
Because I don't see how they should be able to function as a company. I think all of the people that are running the shit and causing all of this cover-up need to go to jail because they're poisoning people. And I think Monsanto should not be allowed to do business in our agriculture industry anymore. That's a reach. I don't think I'm going to get my wish on that.
They do that now.
Bermuda's Environment Minister Cole Simons confirmed the ban on glyphosate-based herbicides at a public meeting in January 2017. Yeah, all the small countries are getting it. United States is going to be the last place to even get it. We might be the glyphosate island in the world, exporting our glyphosate bullshit foods to other countries in that. Which hopefully they embargo the shit so that we can't even export to them, thus disincentivizing us from doing it anymore. Because that's what it's going to take. It ain't going to take us fucking getting sick and getting cancer and shit to get them to change these fucking laws. No, the only way to change the laws is to change the fucking money. And we export a lot of our crops. So if all the other countries ban glyphosate and we're not allowed to have any of it in our crops, that's going to be a problem for our local industrial agriculture, wouldn't you say? And then they would have to change it because they would lose lots of money, a lot more money than they're going to lose in the courtroom.
On now.
But you have to go to the internet to the...
Oh, you guys are digging up all kinds of shit. In August 2016, Italy's Ministry of Health banned the use of glyphosate in public areas and also as a pre-harvest spray. That's a good first step, too. Because I'm willing to bet that's our largest exposure to glyphosate is by desiccating our wheat crops and other grain-based crops to increase our harvest yields. That's a standard practice in here and in Canada that needs to go away. It needs to stop. Sorry farmers. Sorry you're getting your profit from that, but you need to fucking stop that shit because that's almost as bad as these people bathing in it, because that is going to be our highest doses, and it's also getting into our youngest population thanks to breakfast cereals and all of that shit. So, you know, we're fucked right now. I don't know if you're looking around, but this is a big formula for being health fucked. We're being health fucked by Bayer and Monsanto and a bunch of other companies too. But I'd say Monsanto is currently the king of fucking us. If I could change just one of these companies and their products that I could pick to completely wipe out from our diet and environment, this would be it. There's plenty of other shit out there that's going to fuck up our health and kill us. Of all of that, this would be number one on my list to ban, clean up, and get out of our food system. That's my vote. Nobody gives a shit about my vote. But that's my vote so far. If you watched this and you weren't pissed off, I don't know what to tell you. Don't stop it here. Learn about this. And I'm even going to pull up one of the first points of interest that should be, and it's not fun to watch, it's not exactly exciting. He's got multiple lectures on this on the net. I don't even know if this is his best one.
To animals, to the soil.
He gives a very science-heavy explanation. He's been screaming about this for years. Look up Dr. Theory Brain. In fact, I'm going to do a better search and hope that YouTube doesn't fuck me, because YouTube will fuck me when I search things that are inappropriate, but determined by their algorithm. So this one here was the first one I watched, I do believe. This is an hour-long lecture. This would be my recommendation for you to click. The Dennis Report, Dr. Theory Brain, I do believe it's an interview. He's got a couple of other. These are also good. So do a search on Theory Brain. This would be the launching point to understanding glyphosate fully. He goes through the history of it. He goes through the science of it. He goes through all of the microbiology that's involved with it. He is probably one of the better scientific, lecturers on this subject. There are others, but Theory Brain has been talking about this a long time and hasn't gotten his due diligence on it. Let's see, how old is this video? 3 years ago.
Great, because they are toxic.
Yes, GMOs are definitely toxic. You'd think that'd be a good clickbait headline, right? 3 years, 23,000 views. I've got videos that are fucking have more views than that. 3 years, 23,000 views. Let's go give him some views. Learn about this shit. It's that important. All right? So I would search for him. Who's another one? Gaps. Let's see. Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride, also very good doctor to watch on the subject. So I would search for, let's just put that in and just see what pops up. Dr. Natasha, did I spell that right? Campbell. Okay, she wrote the book, The GAPS Diet. I actually bought the book. I haven't read it all yet, but I've watched a lot of the lectures she gives. She covers it a bit too, along with some of the other things like plant toxicity and all of that. Sorry, I'm itching my glyphosate right now. Oh, damn itchy green shit. So, this goes a lot into the autism and gut health and microbiome implications that are presented by glyphosate. Because glyphosate kills your gut bacteria. And your gut bacteria is the only reason you're alive. We are hosts for them. There's more gut bacteria cells in your body than your cells. We're big sacks of bacteria and shit, so to speak. See what I did there? I tend to do that sometimes. But remember, I'm not a fucking expert. And that means I'm not paid for by Monsanto. If I were an expert, I would probably be getting some money from them. But in this case, I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to see a fucking dime of Monsanto money. I'm not even advertiser fucking friendly anymore. Just saying. Do your homework. I just gave you some really good launching points to learn about this. If you do not know about glyphosate, take it upon yourself to learn. Don't just take my triggered word for it. Study this. I will be streaming more about it in the future. I want to do a reaction stream, which probably won't make it to YouTube because it's a long one, to the actual closing arguments in Mr. Johnson's trial there. So I'll be doing that in the future. And if I can find any more of the trial, I of course want to hear the closing arguments of Monsanto. Got to hear both sides. keep in mind, if you like my shit, you like me get triggered, you like me fucking streaming, you like me doing all of this, please like and subscribe for more shit, and I'll make all kinds of shit. Also, head to ScottTheTruckDriver.com, and if you found value in this video, please leave a tip in the virtual tip jar. If you want to participate like all my participants here, like Heiser Hines, who just donated me a motherfucking ice cream. If you want to participate in the live streams, please head to DLive and follow me on DLive. You can also see my streaming schedule on ScottTheTruckDriver.com. And whenever I schedule a stream, that is the place to go and see when the next one is. Sometimes it's a couple days in advance that I get the post. Sometimes it's day of. I do the best I can because I can't always schedule everything. But if you follow me on DLive, you should get notifications if you have the phone app, or just check there every once in a while, because streams tend to last a lot of hours, and if I'm streaming, you're liable to come in the middle of one. So check there every once in a while, until I figure out a better way to notify motherfuckers. Thank you. For those of you watching the stream, we have one more video to go. One more, and then I'm done working for the day until I edit all of this. It's a massive amount of videos to put on YouTube. So stay tuned. We're going to go over the Johnson & Johnson lawsuit next. Just going to touch on it. We're going to go as deep as we did on this one, because I don't use talcum powder. But we're going to see a little bit. Maybe I'll dig deeper into the talcum powder thing to see if we're completely asbestos-free in our life. But I think it'll be a good thing to illustrate just how fucked up corporate America really is in terms of our health and the things that they do to us. So stick around for that if you're watching the live stream. If you're watching on YouTube, that video will be posted the following day after you saw this video. So have a nice motherfucking day and shit. I need to go get some more glyphosate before the next fucking stream. By glyphosate, I mean coffee. I don't know if there's glyphosate in coffee. I hope not. If there's glyphosate in coffee, I'm gonna die. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die at that point.